This is what starting a car with a flat battery sounds like. If this has happened to your car but someone helped you to get out of this mess, maybe you have roadside assistance as part of your car insurance, and now you wanted to learn how to do it correctly yourself, then you come to the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you the easy, correct, and safe way how to jumpstart a car if the battery ran out of juice. What you need to get started is obviously a good quality jumper start cable. You can get one of these in Amazon. If you click on the affiliate link in the description box below, it'll take you straight to the products page so you can buy it right away. But if you prefer to buy it in person, you can also get this on any hardware or auto shops near you. You will also need a couple of microfiber cloth, and I'll explain later how and why this is needed. Now, before you embark on this work, make sure to refer to your car and the donor car's user manual and locate the correct connection points where to attach the jumper leads. Doing this incorrectly may damage your car or the donor car. Once you're familiar with battery connection points for both cars, next thing you need to do is remove any exposed metal objects from your body. It could be rings, watches, earrings, or anything. You need to take them off as it might get in contact with the car's metal parts as you connect these jumper leads and cause injury. That's gonna hurt, and we don't want that. And last but not the least, you need to wear protective gloves, preferably something thick and not one of those thin disposable ones. Now that all these safety precautions are out of the way, let me explain the overall process using this simple illustration. Step 1. Connect the red jumper lead into the positive battery terminal of the car with a dead battery. Step 2. Connect the other end of the red jumper lead into the designated positive battery terminal of the donor car. Step 3. Connect the black jumper lead into the designated negative battery or ground terminal of the donor car. Step 4. Connect the other end of the black jumper lead into the designated ground terminal of the car with a dead battery. This is normally any bare metal in the engine bay or as specified in the car's user manual. Step 5. Start the engine of the donor car and let it run for a couple of minutes. Step 6. Start the engine of the car with a dead battery and let it run for several minutes. Then, while both engines are running, start disconnecting the jumper leads in reverse order it was connected. So now that you're familiar with the process, let's get started. And just to measure how much voltage is left on the battery, we've got a basic multi-tester. I'm just gonna set it to measure the voltage. I've set it to maximum of 20 volts. First, connect the positive terminal to the positive terminal of the battery. And then this is the ground point, so just connect that to the ground. So it's holding up just above 12 volts, which is probably not enough to start the car. In this instance, the donor vehicle is my Velar. The battery of the Velar is actually stored in the boot area, but in the hood in the front of the car, you have a positive terminal here. So you open that up, just that, and also the ground point, which is that metal piece sticking out. So we're gonna connect the two jump leads on this side. While on the Mazda 3, obviously the battery is in the front of the car, so we connect the positive leads here and connect the negative jumper lead here. When you start this process, you need to make sure that these two leads doesn't touch each other, especially once the first three jumper leads have all been connected to its designated points, because we don't want your donor vehicle battery to go kaboom. So I have a rag here to cover up the jumper lead I'm not using while I connect the other leads to its designated points. Now to get started, stand next to the car with a dead battery and take the red jumper lead, then cover up the black jumper lead with the rag. Step 1. Connect the red jumper lead to the positive battery terminal. Step 2. Move over to the donor vehicle, then take the other end of the red jumper lead. Also, as a precaution, cover up the other end of the black jumper lead with a rag. Then proceed to connect the red jumper lead to the donor vehicle's positive battery terminal. Step 3. Take the black jumper lead and connect it to the designated ground terminal of the donor vehicle. Step 4. move back over to the car with a dead battery and take the black jumper lead and very carefully connect it to the designated ground terminal. So the next step after this is to start the engine of the donor vehicle. In this case, this is our Velar, which means I'm gonna jump inside the car and start the engine, and I'm gonna let it idle for about a couple of minutes just to give its battery enough charge and make sure that it can jump start the Mazda and also avoid damaging its own battery. Now I'm gonna jump into the Velar and start the car and prep the battery. Okay, so now that the donor vehicle's engine is running, we're gonna let it run for about a couple of minutes just to make sure that it's got enough charge. I just actually drove the car to get this jump cable anyway, so I'm sure it has enough charge, but in the instruction it said just let the car run for a couple of minutes, so that's what we're doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move over the camera over here, and I've got the two cars side by side. It's been a minute. I've got the key at hand, and I'm gonna jump into the Mazda to start the car. And that is a success. So the next step is to disconnect the terminals in reverse order. Since we connected the negative terminal last, we're going to disconnect it first. Make sure to wrap that into cloth, and then likewise on the Velar we do the same thing. Just be careful while you're doing this. Keep that covered, and then take this positive terminal out. Replace the cover, and then last but not the least, remove this, and we're done. So what I'm going to do next, so that's done. So that's running. We're gonna let it run for about a minute or two, so it gets that charge back, but make sure to put the cap on. The car engine is running, and I'm just gonna measure the voltage while it's running, and I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna measure the voltage. So let's do that. So that's 14.5 volts while running, and I'm gonna shut down the vehicle and measure voltage reading. So the engine shut off. We're gonna measure the voltage reading, and it's 13 volts. Earlier it was just 12, just a bit over, I think 12.01 volt. Now it's reading at 13. So I'll just go back in the car and confirm that the battery is all good, and I can start the engine. So that started on its own. That means the battery is now back within its normal operating condition. We can now close the hood of this car, as well as the hood of our donor car. Now thanks for watching. If you find this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and finally please support my channel by clicking that subscribe button, and be sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of my future updates. See you on the next one.